Greetings, friends, and welcome to Captain Samuel's Sigils. Today it felt important to me to write a story about one of my experiences in Iraq, so I've gone ahead and done that and shared it with you in audio form. Before you listen, I just want to warn you that this story is in reference to recent events and is overtly political. So if you're trying to detox from that kind of thing, you might want to skip this one. Otherwise, I hope you find it meaningful. Thanks. I hope you're doing well. Where? By Captain Samuel. 1. It was a hot evening in autumn, and I was freezing cold. I shivered, and my hands shook on the handle of the machine gun mounted in my Humvee turret. All summer long the Iraq sun had pounded mercilessly upon me, roasting me alive in my body armor, leaving me drenched and standing in a pool of sweat in the gunner's hatch. I had become inured to an inferno, and now, to be in merely hot weather, left me chattering in perceived cold. "Hey, Sergeant, I'm freezing. Can you cover me for a second while I put on my polypros?" I reached for the bundled undershirt designed for Arctic conditions. "Better not," he said. "I don't like the look of these guys. Wait until we get some backup." "Roger, Sergeant," I replied. I resumed staring out over the fields of trash and the dirt berm built up around a shabby mud brick building. The Iraqi security forces, friendly to us, gave us worried, suspicious glances and fingered the safeties on their AK-47 assault rifles. They weren't facing out toward the unknown perimeter. They were facing toward us. "Roger, Sergeant," I repeated dumbly. So I watched the sunset in the Iraqi autumn, slide below the horizon of crumbling city buildings, turn the sandy streets full of trash and offal into the gray shades of night. The other Humvee gunners and I kept our vigil. Usually we had long since returned to the relative safety of our base by now. "What's the general doing anyway? He's been gone a long time." "Some Iraqis went missing. Kidnapped, probably. He's looking for them." Indeed, a shivering eternity ago, I had watched the general we were assigned to escort around Baghdad disappear into the building the Iraqi security forces were guarding, against us. He had his personal bodyguard and interpreter with him. I wondered if he was okay, but only briefly. My hands shook in the cold. It was possible I was sick. I never paid much attention to how I was feeling, because it didn't matter anyways. Radio chatter. "Call for the nearest U.S. unit. We need some backup security out here. We found the missing Iraqis. It's going to be a long night." I stared into the city darkness as in the deepest bowels of night more units arrived. Other Humvees with their bristling machine gun turrets showed up, fortifying our perimeter. With the extra security in place, I just went ahead and put on my polypros. Then I enjoyed a midnight snack of squished chicken tetrazzini from a plastic pouch. The Iraqi security forces guarding the place wandered off, disappearing into the night. It was none of my business. I wasn't their babysitter. I was a poor kid, just here in a war zone for the college money. All my body parts were where they belonged, and that's all that mattered. We left early in the morning, got a few hours of sleep, and then headed right back to the site. The place was like a crime scene now, with military police walking around the area. More high-ranking U.S. officers greeted the general when he arrived. I spent the whole day staring at trash and broken buildings, while the general and other bigwigs did whatever cryptic activities bigwigs do. "We're on the news," the sergeant told me. "What, really?" "Yeah, apparently Iraqi security forces were abusing their power. They went around kidnapping civilians that were part of the rival sect of Islam, and they brought them here." "What is this place?" I asked. The sergeant didn't answer right away. Ambulances arrived. The doors of the building swung wide and skeletons shambled out. I was stunned out of my soldier's numbness. I had seen those black and white photos of Holocaust victims staring wide-eyed from bony skulls. Now I was seeing it in real life. The emaciated Iraqi prisoners climbed into the ambulance. The sergeant was talking at me while I stared. "It was a torture facility," the sergeant said. "It was real bad, about 20 guys all crammed into a closet, pissing and shitting on each other. Apparently one guy's asshole is ripped up and has an infection. Who knows what that's about? Ugh. Ugh." We came back again the next day. By now all the kidnapped Iraqis had been rescued and sent to hospitals, but the investigation and documentation of the war crimes continued. This was my third day of standing in the gunner's turret, staring at the same pile of shattered glass, plastic bottles, and open sewers. So when I was invited to go inside and see the torture facility, I said yes. I grabbed my light machine gun and stepped out to stretch my legs. The Humvee driver took my place in the turret, and I went inside with some other guys. The smell. Holy shit, the smell. This is me writing a story, to tell you about my experiences, to warn and admonish about the horrors of war. I can't come up with any prose raw or descriptive enough to do it justice, besides just to simply say, holy shit, the smell of the place. The absolute rank miasma of men crammed into a closet, excreting all over each other in the heat. Holy shit, the smell. I shambled through the rest of the tour of hell. I saw the closet where the men had been chained inside, crammed together like junk. I saw where the Iraqi forces that maintained the place and done the kidnapping had also been involved in some arts and crafts projects. Cinder blocks were stuffed with plastic explosives. Soda cans bristled with wires. They had been constructing improvised explosive devices, or IEDs. That's a sterile acronym for the concept that anything can kill you. I remember one time, some Iraqi kid was handing out teddy bears. I took one and brought it down into the cab of the Humvee to show the sergeant. Look, Sergeant, a teddy bear. Oh, fuck, get that out of here. It could be a grenade. Embarrassed, I stupidly replied, It's not a grenade. Look, it's just a teddy bear. I gave it to the sergeant as a gift of atonement. He kept it and rode around with us. The friendly Iraqi security forces kidnapped and tortured people. Cinder blocks, soda cans, and teddy bears could mangle a person into a cloud of red mist and gore. Nothing could be trusted. No place was safe. Anything can kill you. No place was safe. 2. My unit had just returned from deployment. I walked into my barracks room and pulled out a Game Boy Advance. What are you going to do now? My friend asked me. Oh, just sit in the barracks and play video games, I suppose, I replied. Man, we just got back from deployment. Don't sit here in the barracks. Come back to my house with me. All right, I agreed. His wife drove the two of us through charming southern streets lined with palm trees and fresh green lawns. The houses were all intact, the streets were paved. We pulled into the driveway of his house. I'm going inside so my wife can welcome me home, he said. You can watch TV downstairs if you want. There's food in the fridge, help yourself. I think I'll just stand out here for a bit. It's a beautiful day, I replied. My friend gave me a slap on the back and went inside with his wife. I stood there on the front lawn, out in the open. No one is going to shoot me, I thought. I can stand out here on the front lawn, out in the open, and nobody is going to shoot me. There are no snipers. I watched a car leisurely drive down the suburban street. There are no car bombs here either. No one is going to slam on the gas and plow a rig full of explosives into my buddy's house. I stood there on another planet, another world, a bizarre, surreal, and alternate universe of law, civility, humanity, and safety. I am back in the United States of America, and no one is going to try to kill me here. I'm safe. But I didn't really believe that. Not yet, anyways. 3. Ding! Ding! The motion detecting alarm I had put outside my college apartment was going off. I burst awake and grabbed the loaded 12-gauge shotgun from next to my bed. I racked a shell into the chamber and opened the door, yelling out onto the flat rooftop landing that was my backyard. Who the fuck is on my roof? This is private property. Get the fuck out of here now! Drunken muttering reached my ears as a few college students climbed down off the network of rooftop landings above my apartment. Then they crossed the flat area behind my door, descended the fire escape stairs, and passed the alarm I had set up to catch them. Then I closed the door and cleared the chamber of the shotgun. I climbed back into bed beside my girlfriend. Jesus Christ, she said, frightened. They're just college kids. Do you really need to sleep with a shotgun next to your bed? Calling them kids hadn't helped her case. In Iraq, a little boy had pointed a handgun at my face one time. I could have killed him, but didn't, simply waving him back inside his house with a rude gesture. This was just further evidence of how nuts my girlfriend was. She was insane and reckless in her insanity. She didn't know the obvious truth that nothing was just this or just that. That appearances meant nothing and anything could kill you. That no place was safe. Still, maybe she had a point. I eventually decided to get therapy. Over decades, I slowly crawled out of the hell of paranoia in which I lived. If I condensed all my sessions into a single conversation, it would go something like this. So, the therapist said, let's say you did shoot one of those college kids partying on your roof. What would happen next? Well, the college student would be dead, but I gave verbal commands to leave, and then I would have fired a warning shot into the brick nearby. I would have done everything I was trained to do in Iraq. I don't think I would get in any trouble. I did my duty, keeping my home and girlfriend safe. Ah, the therapist replied. But are you in Iraq? No, I said. No, I'm not in Iraq anymore. Within a few years of therapy, I loaded my closet full of shotguns, rifles, and knives into the trunk of my car. Then I drove to a store which happened to sell firearms and guitars. I traded in all my weapons for an electric guitar, a bright red Les Paul-style guitar with brilliant humbucker pickups. I stopped imagining that college students were terrorists, and learned to play The Wizard by Black Sabbath. It's a song about a benevolent sorcerer who wanders from village to village, and everyone he passes feels safe and content. That's the kind of thing you do in the United States of America. You play electric guitar and feel safe. 4. It's 2026 now, over 2 decades later. I watch the news of government security forces violently abusing their power. I watch them kidnap people off the streets and hold them in clandestine prisons. I see unarmed people gunned down in broad daylight. The rational voices of my therapists fade away, soft and distant. You aren't in Iraq, they mutter. Look at the facts. You aren't in Iraq anymore. I can't hear them. I can't remember what they said. I don't remember what they were talking about. Instead, I hear a whisper. It's always been there in the background. It's just that the volume had been turned way down. But I hear it again. I hear it now. It's gaining strength, growing louder. Anything can kill you. No place is safe. Where is my shotgun? Where are my rifles? I traded them all in. Stupid. Maybe I could get them back, but no. I am a man of peace now. Violence begets violence. I wrote a science fiction story about peace. I must practice what I preach. I won't search for firearms stores near me. I'll sit down, write this story instead. I hear the mail truck rumble up to my house, open and slam shut my mailbox with a dreadful clang. I check the mail right away. It gives me anxiety to know I have mail, and it might be bad news. I live in the rural mountains. It's winter. Heavy white snowflakes pour down outside. I put on my thick coat and hat, pull on my insulated boots. I step outside and trudge through the thick snow to the mailbox. It's covered in snow, which I brush away with my coat sleeve. The pine trees are frosted and white. The wan sun peeks through heavy gray clouds. I open the mailbox, and it's a letter from the VA. Oh no, the worst kind of mail. A letter from the VA. I tear it open and read it. Fortunately, it's nothing serious, just junk, the kind of pointless, obvious correspondence that a large bureaucracy automatically sends out. But then I notice something. In all bold letters it says, America is grateful to you for your service. And why shouldn't they be? After all, America asked me to stop terrorism and authoritarianism, to end lawless evil like Iraqi security forces kidnapping people off the street to torture and murder innocent people. My broken mind and sick body are the cost of that fight, but surely it was all worth it, right? Right? I tossed the letter into the street with the rest of the trash and open sewage. Then I walked through crunching broken glass and shifting hot sand. The blazing sun beats down upon me through a hazy sky filled with the smoke of open burn pits. I step into my house of crumbling mud brick and shut the door.